So if one thing the Conservative Party prides itself on is its support of individual freedom, you'd think, right, that would kind of be undermined by the policy of the idea that we shouldn't be selling like disposable vapes or banning people from smoking if they're born after a certain time. Like, I support both of these policies. Not very libertarian though, is it? And in the latest outbreak of libertarianism from the Conservative Party, they have just announced the potential new policy of banning the sale of mobile phones to under 16s. Now, I have some problems with this policy. Like, I understand that people have an issue with kids having mobile phones, and I think their criticisms are warranted, but surely that should be up to the parents to decide rather than the state. I thought the state doing things was communism, Tories. Or am I wrong? It's only the state doing things for communism when it's economic things. If it's the state cracking down on people's freedoms, that's another thing. That's just sparkling authoritarianism. Anyway, let's read on and have a look at what they're planning on doing, shall we? Children under 16 could be banned from buying mobile phones under proposals being considered by ministers. Michelle Donovan, the Technology Secretary, is looking at imposing restriction in an attempt to protect young people from the harmful effects of social media. Now, right off the bat, first of all, how many children do you know who are under the age of 16 who are spending their own money buying a phone? Just like, yeah, I'm going to go and just going to drop 400 quid on like a second-hand iPhone. Yeah, the average 14-year-old's rolling in it. Just going to go into CEX, buy a phone in cash. A thing that they do every single day. Absolutely, definitely a thing that they would do. Yeah. What children buy phones? Absolutely nonsensical. And second of all, to protect them from the harmful effects of social media. You know, kids can buy computers too, right? You know, laptops exist, tablets exist. Second of all, on top of that, is that they can just buy it on the internet. They can just go to Amazon if they have the money. If they are a 15-year-old who has miraculously managed to get enough money to buy a smartphone outright, because they can't get a contract at this age, so that's not even been prevented by this law. What makes you think they can't just go on the internet and order one for distance selling? You're going to make Amazon take people's identification to prove their age before they can order phones online? This makes literally no sense. And it's very funny to me that the literal technology secretary can't understand, like, distance selling or even how social media works. Anyway, it comes amid a government crackdown on children's use of phones, with Gillian Keegan, the education secretary, issuing guidance earlier this year urging schools to ban mobile phones in the classroom, saying the move would reduce disruption and improve behaviour. I actually do agree with that. An Ofcom poll last year found that 97% of children have a phone by the age of 12, while 99% of teenagers have a phone by the time they're 17. Yes, because their parents buy them, not because the kids are going out and paying for it with their pocket money. Outlawing phone sales to under 16s is one option being considered under consultation on protecting children online, being drawn up by Miss Donlan's department. Any new law would only ban the sales of mobile phones directly to children and would not stop parents from buying phones for their children like literally every single child has ever had done for them. The Technology Secretary is also considering making it easier for parents to put parental controls on devices. It's still very easy for them to do that, but I don't know how you change that anyway. And banning under 16s from signing up to social media sites such as Facebook. Most allow children access from the age of 13. This is the Technology Secretary does not know what a fucking VPN is. These people all know what VPNs are. Do you think like a 14-year-old isn't going to know how to turn on a VPN? Right? Because even if you can't just lie and say that you're 16 when you aren't to sign up for a social media site and just lie. Say, for example, the state mandated it to you that you had to give identification to prove your age to sign up for Facebook or Twitter or whatever it might be. Just use a VPN, pretend you're in America, instantly don't have to bother supplying any identification. This is the Technology Secretary. Doesn't know anything. Literally just completely clueless. Well, that's what happens when you have like a weird gerontocracy. And Michelle Donlan isn't even that old. She's divorced from reality and didn't learn computer science when she was at school. A source at the department said no decision had been reached. No shit. There are discussions ongoing about whether more needs to be done to enable greater parental empowerment, which is fair. It's fair to have parental empowerment because that should be their role of parenting their children rather than the state just banning it. Anyway, currently you have to be 18 to get your own phone contract, as I mentioned before, so that suggests most under 18s with a phone do so with parental consent already. If the parents want their kids to have phones, then they should be allowed to. Sophie Wilkerman, the actress who played Big Suze on Peep Show, by the way, and member of the royal family, no less, called for children to be given brick phones instead of smartphones earlier this year. Not necessarily a bad idea. Appearing on the Telegraph's Planet Normal podcast, The Telegraph, you are the last people to criticize anybody else for being too normal. Fucking Telegraph. She said something's to happen from higher up. I don't know how anyone can defend social media and smartphone use for under 16s. Should be the choice of the parents at the end of the day. If you want to educate parents about the pitfalls of kids on social media, be my guest, but you can't really claim to any kind of libertarianism that you claim to cling to, and also just ban these things straight up rather than allowing it to be part of the parents' choice. Oh wow, literally this is somebody who I respected, the actress from Peep Show, on a podcast with absolute fucking demon Harridan, Alison Pearson, who said that we should scrap the NHS today, and Liam Halligan, the econ guy from GB News. Smartphones and screen use are wrecking children's eyesight, their neurological, emotional, mental health, their educational attainment, and their life chances. I'd like to see some studies, but I think that's not necessarily too far away from my experience of what happens to kids who use too much social media. Dr. Becky Foljambe, a NHS GP, said, parental voices plus the detrimental and worsening impacts of smartphones on children that I see every day in practice and observe hourly in the wider world is all the evidence we need to create change now. Not only this, but all the teenagers themselves are now voicing regrets they were ever given a smartphone. This is a child public health concern. Again, just allow the parents to be able to make their own decisions. Thank you. A government spokesman did not deny the potential ban last night, saying we do not comment on speculation. Our commitment to making the UK the safest place to be a child online is unwavering, as evidenced by our landmark Online Safety Act. That does not work because of VPNs. People will just use a VPN. Again, an entire government that just does not even bothered bringing in, like, they want to bring in consultants on, like, everything when it comes to econ policy. As soon as it comes to this weirdo social policy, they can't just bring in an expert. Can't just bring in and get a consultant to come in and say, no, they'll use a VPN, your legislation doesn't fucking work. But it's honestly, this has to be like the dumbest proposal. This is like the UK equivalent of the TikTok hearings with people trying to ask the Singaporean CEO whether or not he had ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Like, honestly, the people we have writing our laws are clowns. Absolute clowns. Hey there, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you like and leave a comment. That helps the video out in the algorithm. If you subscribe and ring the bell, it'll let you know when I go live. I stream every day on YouTube and Twitch. You can also follow all of my socials down in the description. And if you want to support me in a more financial manner, there's a join button for membership to just 99p to be a member on YouTube, as well as a Patreon, and there's some merch there as well. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.